Hey everyone, my name is Meghan Holliday. I'm a reading specialist at Morrow Heights Elementary for Jefferson City School District in Jefferson City, Missouri. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to help your child who's learning how to read. I've been a reading specialist now for 6 years, 4 of which I taught reading recovery. Prior to that, I taught first grade. And I feel like right now it's really hard to teach your kid how to read, and a lot of parents might be out there struggling with how to help their child who's learning how to read. I just have a brief presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about how readers learn to read, and then what that kind of implies for you at home. So here we go. All right, so really readers use 3 main systems to help them figure out a word. So they're either going to use meaning, which is using their background knowledge, the context clues and picture clues, or they're going to use their language structure, which is just using their knowledge of language patterns, so how they talk. Or they might use phonics, which is using letter-sound relationships and the visual information within the print, which is not the pictures. So what the letters look like and how that applies to the sound that they make and that sort of thing. Most of us are pretty familiar with phonics. The meaning and language structure, using that is not as familiar with us. So really when we look at when reading efficient reading occurs, it's right there in the middle. That's where the magic happens, is right when a child is using all 3 systems. Typically, struggling readers are going to use one cueing system more than the other, or 2 more than the other. For example, they might use phonics really well, but then when they're reading, it doesn't make sense or sound right. Or everything sounds right and makes sense, but then, it doesn't look right. So typically, a lot of struggling readers fall into one of those categories, okay? So when we're talking about meaning, that's going to mean using their background knowledge and context clues, so the picture clues. So what would make sense? So when we're looking at this text here, it says, "Here is ice cream, yum, yum." A beginning reader, we would not expect them to be able to read the word ice cream in isolation, but the child's able to understand what the word is by looking at the picture and helping them, the picture is telling them what the word is. So that's using meaning. All right, then we look at language structures. Okay, so using the knowledge of language patterns. So what would sound right? So when a child's reading, they have to, especially with verbs, they have to come to a verb and think about what would sound right. So when a child comes to we, and then they have to decide, is it was, are, were, or is going home? We wouldn't expect them to be able to read all of those words in isolation by itself. As early readers. So they really do use what they know about how we talk to help them decide which word would make the most, or which word would sound right. So then we get to phonics. That's using letter-sound relationships and the visual information within the print, which is not the picture. So what the word actually looks like. So this is when we see what would look right. Typically people say they're sounding the word out. They're using the letter sounds to help them solve the word. Okay, so what efficient readers do? So Betsy Kay did some research on what efficient second graders do. So they realized that there's more than 60 different ways to overtly solve words. Usually they worked within large subword level units. So they're breaking the word up into parts. They're not using letter by letter, sounding out. They're always working left to right through the word. They're not finding the end of a word to help them solve the word. They're looking at the first part, then maybe the middle, and then at the end. Then they're also, all those substitutions or errors that they're making are going to use multiple sources of information and concurrently. So those errors are going to make sense, they're going to sound right, and they're going to look similar to what the actual correct word is. So when what efficient readers do make an error, usually it makes sense, it sounds right, and it looks fairly similar. What the research showed they did not do is they do not stop and wait for the teacher to tell. They don't appeal for help without trying. So remember when your child is reading that an appeal for help isn't always, hey, can you help me? It can also be when they just look at you like, did I get that right? Or, I'm stuck, and they just kind of look at you. So that's appealing. So we want to avoid that as well. They're not articulating letter by letter. So they're not going ya, s, t, e, d, a, ya. When children do that, they're not able to distinguish what the word is. And they're not also, the research showed that they didn't skip a word and read on to try to figure out what it was. Okay, so when we talk about sounding words out, when we look at our English language, actually 40 to 50% of the words that kids see in our early readers are words that can't be accurately sounded out because they don't follow the regular phonemic pattern. So like was, sure, orange, they, the, what, said, all those words can't be sounded out. So we have to help them and train them on ways to solve words and not just rely on sounding it out. So reading really is like juggling. It's our job to help the child not just focus on one or two ways to solve words. We need to show them how to juggle the different systems that can help them solve the words. So really we need to train their brains to think about what would make sense, what would look right, and what would sound right, not just one or two of those three systems. So how does this apply at home? I bet you're wondering that. Really when it comes to solving tricky words, so there's kind of two things that we're going to look at: how to help them solve tricky words and what to do when they make an error. So when your child reads to you and gets stuck on a word, first you need to give them time and opportunity to work on the word. So once they've given it a shot, then you could say something like, try something that would make sense. Try something that sounds right. Try something that looks right. Or try the first part and reread. And when they're doing that, they're trying that first big chunk of the word. So if it was the word stuck, they might go st. And then we would encourage them to read back. So if you're looking at this first line, when your child reads to you and gets st, when your child reads to you and gets stuck on a word, oftentimes when they try that first part and reread, it just pops out like magic, because that really truly is integrating all sources of information. By using the first part, they're using phonics. By rereading, they're using meaning and structure. So really that is that integration, which is the juggling that we need them to be doing. So these are some things that you can tell your child other than just sound it out. The other thing that you can do to help your child is when they make a mistake, when they make an error. So this is really hard. I find myself reading with my first grader, and it's hard not to tell them to fix it right away, or wait a minute, kind of things like that. But by telling them when they've made a mistake, we're really hindering their ability to monitor, to check on their own reading. And that's one of the big behaviors that we need to have our readers doing on their own, is checking on themselves. If we're doing that work for them, then they're not going to be doing it on their own when they're reading independently. So if your child makes a mistake, first give them the time and opportunity to fix it themselves without telling them that they've made a mistake. A great rule of thumb is wait until the end of the page. So at that point, if they didn't notice they made a big mistake, you could say something like, try that again and think about what makes sense. Try it again and think about what would sound right. Try it again and think about what would make sense and look right. So that last one, once again, is encouraging that juggling, encouraging integration, getting them to use all sources of information rather than just visual like phonics or just meaning, where they're just using the picture, that sort of thing. By giving them these hints, you're helping them figure out how to fix it without telling them the answer. So really when we're reading at home, it's just super important, first of all, that it's an enjoyable experience. We want kids to love to learn, and most of all, we want you to love learning to read with them. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information was on the first slide. I really hope that in these times you guys are able to help your child at home who's learning to read, and it's an enjoyable experience. Good luck, stay healthy.